students, today we discuss about the types of statements in Python. In our previous class, we studied about typecasting or type conversions and the different types of data types we used in Python. So, the different types of Python statements are: first is empty statement, second is simple statement, and third is compound statement. Empty statement is a simple statement, or we can say that it is an empty statement which serves as a placeholder in a Python. It is a special statement in Python that does nothing, and its syntax is pass. Then we use simple statements. A simple statement in Python is a single logical statement. For example, we have written print name. Then we have compound statements. A compound statement is a statement which consists of a group of statements. Is known as compound statements. Now we have a control statement. Control statements are used to control the flow of execution depending upon the specified condition or a logic. And there are three types of control statements: decision making, iteration statements, and jump statements. In decision making we have if else, iteration. In iteration we use loops, and in jump statements we use break, continue, pass. So first is decision making statements. Decision making statements are used to control the flow of execution of a program depending upon the condition. And there are three types of decision making statements in Python: if statement, if else statement, and nested if else statement. And if statement is easiest method for making decision in Python. It states that if something is true, Python should perform the steps that follow and does nothing in case the condition evaluates to false. And the flowchart for this is start. If condition is true, then a next statement will be executed. If condition is false, then we come out the loop. Next is if else statement. The syntax of if else statement is: if condition is true, then this statement will executed, else other statement will be executed. Or we can say that if statement tells us that if condition is true, it will execute a block of statements, and if condition is false, it does not. For example, we have a equals to 10. If a is less than 100, print less than 100. Else print more than equal 100. And suppose we have a equals to 10, a is less than 100, so its output will be less than 100. Now nested if else statement. Nested if else statements allow to check for a multiple test expressions and execute different codes for more than 1-2 conditions. Or we can say that nested if else statement allow you to check for multiple test expressions and execute different codes for more than 2 conditions. And the for loop hai, and enter test condition. If true, again a test condition. If that condition is true, we go to a next statement, and if condition is false, then we move to our next condition, next statements. Nested if else statement का syntax है: if condition statement, elif condition statement as condition. For example, we have a number equals to float, input, enter a number. If number is greater than 0, if num is equals to 0, print 0, as print positive number, as print negative number. Suppose you enter 5 and it check if 5 is greater than 0, yes. If 5 is equals to num, no, condition is false. तो वो क्या प्रिंट करेगा, it will print that it's a positive number. Next we have iterations. In our day-to-day life we repeat tasks. For example, we are repeating paying electricity bill every month. So iteration statements are used to execute a block of statements as long as the condition is true. Loop statements are used when we need to run same code again and again. So what is iteration? Repetition of a set of statements in a program is known as iteration. Python iteration statements are of three types: while loop, for loop and nested for loop. First is while loop. While loop, it is used to execute a block of statements as long as a given condition is true. When that condition becomes false, the control will come out of the loop. This condition is checked every time at the beginning of the loop. A syntax of while loop is while condition statement. For example, we have x equals to 1. जब तक कि हमारी कंडीशन ट्रू रहेगी हमारा लूप कंटिन्यू रहेगा. While x is less than equals to 4, print x, then x equals to x plus 1. फर्स्ट इसने चेक किया x इज इक्वल्स टू 1 है, सो कंडीशन ट्रू है, x इज लेस देन 4, प्रिंट 1. सेम x में इंक्रीमेंट हुआ, x का वैल्यू 2 हुआ, 2 इज लेस देन 4 इक्वल्स टू 4, येस प्रिंट 2, सो ऑन. जब तक कंडीशन ट्रू रहेगा ये एग्जीक्यूट लूप एग्जीक्यूट होता रहेगा, और जैसे ही कंडीशन फॉल्स होगी यू कम आउट ऑफ द लूप. नेक्स्ट इज फॉर लूप. And while loop is also known as indefinite loop because statements are executed until a logical condition remains true. Then we have a for loop. For loop is known as definite loop because statements are executed for a definite number of times. The for loop is used to iterate over items of any sequence. Such as list or a string, or we can say that for statements is used to repeat itself over a range of values or a sequence. The for loop is executed for each of these items in the range. These values either can be numeric or characters or a string or list or a tuple, etc. Now syntax for loop is for well in sequence statement. For example, for I in range 3,5 print I. तो start करेगा 3 से and 5 तक जाएगा printing. Next we have a nested for loop. Nested means loop inside a loop is known as nested for loop. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल हम ये हमारा लूप था, लूप के अंदर हमने एक और लूप चला दिया तो वो हमारा क्या हो गया, नेस्टेड लूप हो गया. सो दिस इज़ ऑल अबाउट द लूपिंग. थैंक यू.